tukakuwa na argument. When I went to pour some water, alifunga mlango
na ndani
na akawasha moto. My baby girl, the second born, kalikuja kwa dirisha kaniambia, "Timam, baba choma."
When Beatrice met a man and fell in love with him, several people, including his people, warned her against him. And now she wishes she listened. Today we are going to hear a story of a lady who has gone through so much pain in her marriage and she's trying to piece her life back together. Welcome to today's episode of My Story. My name is Yvonne Kawira.
Okay, my name is Beatrice and I'm a mother of 3.
Okay.
And I come from Kiambu. Right now I can say I'm in Kiambu. And yeah, I'm almost a graduate. Yeah, but I'm into script writing and all that. Or let's just say I'm in art world. Yeah, that's okay. Beatrice for you for now.
Yeah. Awesome. Beatrice, your story begins where you have met somebody and you've formed a family with this person, and then things start falling apart. But before that, where was Beatrice? Did you go to school, in primary school? Where was it?
Okay, Beatrice, I went to school. I schooled at St. Mary's. And then, before then, my primary, I went to 2 schools, but up country, somehow. And then after that, I came to Nairobi and I went to St. Mary's.
Okay.
And then after that, I developed a certain condition, so I had to go to day school. Yeah, okay. And then after that, I went to Kemu, but I didn't finish because that's when I lost my grandfather. And then a lot started coming along, and then when I went to break, it's because during that time, I went through a series of, I was raped twice, so I didn't want to be close to anyone. So no school, no nothing.
Did you blame yourself because of this?
Trust you me, yeah, till today, because I used to tell myself, because that day I was coming from a studio and I was telling myself, if only I didn't go. Because when people around you start blaming you, you even blame yourself further, because you feel like, okay, I'm expecting people to receive the news, like to make you feel it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And that time, you're quite young. So everything you hear when you're young, everything you hear, it never leaves your brain. You're like, no matter how hard you try to forget or to fight it, it's always there. So it's been a journey. And yeah, I can't say it's been sorrowful. Like I can say my journey is full of thorns. No roses. Roses, trust you me, they belong to someone else. But for me, I'll just say it's
been chaotic.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah.
So at that point when you're faced with all these challenges, yet you're young, did you have anyone to confide in? Did you even report to the police or anything?
Funny enough, there's a teacher who saw my card. So you see, when you go to Nairobi Women's, there's a certain card you're given.
Right.
Trust you me, when she saw my card falling, she started telling people to stay off for me because I'm a prostitute. In that time, I was young. I was like, I'm the kind of lady, the reserved ones. I was telling myself, trust you me, I will keep myself until I find the right man. Yeah, so that was a kind of covenant I made to God. And then after that, you're raped and you're blamed for it. And then they call you a prostitute and you're like, in your heart, you know that's a never ever. Yeah.
Please take me through that night you were coming from the studio. And were you accompanied by someone? Did these people talk to you? How was it?
No, actually, there was a studio near our place. They had a nice graffiti. And as for me, I love catchy stuff. So I used to tell myself, the way these guys are good in graffiti, I'm double sure even the production part of it, they're good. So when I went there, I can remember I went to do a song. It was a love song. And then that man, imagine he was not saved. But when as in that time I was singing out of the pain, because as in you've been going through pain after pain. So I was telling myself, I used to love song. So I sang a song. It was a love dirty song. So he was like, he stopped and told me, you have a nice voice, but trust you me, this is not you. Can you be you? So that one day you'll never regret what you are doing, because this is a song and it will be out one day. And then I told him, give me a pen and a paper. I wrote a gospel song then and there. And then I sang it. And he told me, now this is you.
Wow.
Like, it's more of even in my pain, God was always somewhere.
Speaking to you.
Yeah. Because when I did, and it was a worship song, so I'm telling myself, okay, I'm young. Worship song, how can I move people? I want to be like Willie Paul and those people, as in a hype song.
Yeah.
Now, God, you're giving me a worship. How? So you see, and then after that, when we did the song, I told the producer, it's time for me to go, because normally I used to, when I go somewhere by 5, I'm home.
Yeah.
So that day when I'm walking back home, I see this grey car. And there's an uncle of mine who was in Germany, and every time he was in town, he used to use such a car. So in my mind, nilijiambia, wow, he's around. When they called me, nikaenda mbio. Kuenda, the next thing, nilishikwa nikaingizwa kwa gari. And then when it was 4, it was drizzling. So it was like, that's the painful part, and the pain I feel like, seriously. And then I was in trousers, and I was in a hood, a blue hood, and then a trouser. So there's no way you can tell me that it's my dressing code. So after that, the next thing, because I tried to fight them off, then one guy hit me with a gun, so I was unconscious. The next thing, I saw myself in Nairobi hospital next to my neighbor.
No.
And then someone comes with a file. You are very lucky. Out of these files, yours is negative. You're good. You just have to come after 3 months for checkup. And I'm like, okay, so that's good news for you. How am I supposed to celebrate? In the first place, I didn't expect me to be part of that. So you see, then after that, so now that's when issues started, because remember, you're naive, you're young. After every rape, you're supposed to take ARVs, right? I don't know what that is. So Mimi, even if people are here, I'll just come and take them. So you are insulting the people, like they are so bitter, because why are you embarrassing us? But me, I don't know what I'm doing. Me, as young as I was, and I was not into so many things, so I'm not
in your innocence. Yeah. So
I'm taking them. Sometimes now the teacher sees me taking them, and then the card drops down. When they saw the card, because normally they have the details, the Nairobi hospital cards. The teacher started telling people, you're supposed to keep off from Kimberly because she's a prostitute. Atawafunza tabia mbaya.
No.
From then, I started isolating myself. Even in classes, I used to write, when people are doing like their norm thing, I used to write songs and movies in my books. And I'm alone as in, if this room doesn't have, like, so you see, at times mnaambiwangwa 2 classes mwende 1 class, so that mnafunzwa. I'll go to the class that is empty. I start writing my movies and songs. So that's when I started being suicidal. And nothing worked. No matter what I tried, and it always bounced back on me. So I'm like, I remember there's a day I told God, okay, listen, because now tunakosea na heshima. I don't want to die to come to you. I'd rather die and go to the other side as long as I'm dead. And trust you me, I remember, so you know Jogoo Road? I went at 8:30 at night. Nikapiga magoti. Till today I ask myself how that car saw me. Ilikuja ikasimama and I was like, finally, I've won over him. There's no way sitagongwa leo. Ilikuja ikasimama hapo na akatoka kwa gari. And it was a man, the same people I don't want to see. And then he was so good to me. I'm like, okay, I thought all of you are animals. He went, I went somewhere and cooled off, and then after that, from there, it's been blaming myself after. So I told myself, I'll make sure every man who comes close to me, I'll revenge. And he'll pay for the others. But unfortunately, if you are not meant to have a black heart, you can never. Because the first person I did that, as in I could make you fall in love, ile you can't do without me. And then I'll put you off.
Just to feel you.
Yeah, to feel like, yeah, they are paying. So it started making me feel like I could cry, and I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? So when I saw that one is not working, now I started avoiding them like plague. Me, even my own uncle or anyone, I couldn't sit close to you as long as you're a man. Yeah. Especially when it happened the second time, it wasn't even worse because it damaged everything in me. And then I told myself, if indeed I was a good person, there's no way God could have allowed it to happen twice.
The second time?
Yeah.
Did you know this person?
No.
Where were you?
Somewhere along Donholm. Actually where Chokora. It made me feel filthy because wanakushikia place unaona it's full of like kwenye wanaendanga choo, you know that.
It's chocolate.
Yeah. But
so sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. That's part of me. Sinanga machozi cause ilini make nikuwe numb. Like umekuwa pained, hadi pain inakuwa part of you. You're like, hata ukiona mtu akiwa mzuri kwako, you're like, I know, najua wewe, I know what you're about to do. So you're never at ease around people. You don't believe there are good people out there. Yeah. And then the person that you give your trust becomes even the devil himself.
This is now your marriage.
Yeah, the first person I met after school, it took a while before me trusting the person. Yeah. But I was going through a lot. I was feeling like I need a child because that's the only thing that will fill the gap. And then a child, unajua ile unasema, a child will always love me. Yeah. And they will never leave me. Yeah. So me actually, the reason why I have the kids, I can say, it was like I need someone for me. Someone who can never leave me. Like hata tukikosana, I know she'll always stand up for me. I don't have to bribe the person. I don't have to fake love, but they'll love me. So that was my motive. Yeah. When I got pregnant, I go to the hospital. They inject me with poison. And then the baby dies inside.
Why did they do that?
They kept me there. And then I'm there for like a whole day and no one wants to see me. Even imagine God sent a young doctor from Kenyatta, the second day, if I'm not wrong. She came direct to my ward. Akaniuliza, have you been rude to anyone here? Because your case is emergency. And I told her, trust you me, no. But there's a man who told me to pay him so that anaweza nizalisha mtoto akiwa hai. Then after I realized amekufa, because I could feel my baby taking her last breath and there's nothing I can do. Then after that I told them she's normal. They came with those two things ati kusikiza. Then wanasema, but then ni kama hakuna kitu. whether nurses will be forgiven by God. Some of them, nurses and doctors, unless they repent. Because as for me, there are some of them, even today, I pray to God for justice. I didn't do anything to them. I'm in denial. Hapo ndio sasa depression ilianza kunihit kidogo. I'm telling myself, I can't lose this one. This is my savior. Like, who will love me if not this one? When I went there, akanipeleka theater. Alikata kidonda yangu, hata ukiona inakaanga. You wouldn't even want to see it. Waliniharibu from day one. And then that doctor told me, you are among the people who had the best maternal heartbeat. Where's your theater? But because of that, amekufia ndani, lazima ukata. And then walikata kutoka hapa hadi huku. Kikitu inakuanga imekula tumbo hapa. It's something disgusting yenye ukiangalia. Alafu saa hiyo hauna tumbo, so ilikuwa inakaa uko flat, lakini ukifungua tumbo you're like, okay, what's that? Kwenda kufungua ilitoa harufu, theater yote ikanuka. Alafu ilikuwa green in color. Hadi mtoto mwenye akitolewa alikuwa na green. The only thing I could see, cause walinionyesha mbali, they didn't want me to see. Which I'm not even sure she was gone, cause I never saw her again. Alikuwa na nywele refu na kalikuwa brown in color. And that's the last thing I saw na wakachukua. When I saw that, I unplugged everything. Na nikatoanisha na I went off. Remember, tumbo ujafungwa. Then ananiambia, the nini, iyo poison, it was almost to my heart. So ingefika. I think that's what they were waiting for. And trust you me, no one, I didn't even know anyone there. So after nime unplug kila kitu, I went off. Imagine when I woke up, walikuwa wamenifunikia like I'm gone. Hata the good parties, even hawaizi kupeleka mochari kama ujafungwa. So they had to stitch the wound. Kuamka nimekwa zile kamba zile za kusimama. Sijui kama you know them. Like, you see when you go to CS nowadays, they spray and then it decays and all that. That one zilikuwa zimesimama za color green, blue, red. Sijui red. Zimesimama hivi. Kuamka, walishtuka cause they were done with me. They thought I'm dead. So when I woke up, that doctor told me one thing. Trust you me, he's not done with you. And until you are done with what he wants with you, you're not going anywhere. So after that, I came back. The mother to that man told me, hiyo ni kitu ya kulia. Na wewe ni myang, si utazaa ingine. Kwani hiyo ni kitu unashinda tu ukilia. That a person who could meet, unaenda kumwambia you saw his son na mtu anakwambia wanaume ni few. As long as mko na yeye, that's not a problem.
She never liked you from the word go, didn't you?
For her, I don't even know. As in, you can't even explain what it was. As in, wale watu, they hurt you, I guess, without knowing. I don't even know because I couldn't understand. Like, imagine your son comes and tells you something, unajibu kitu kama hiyo na nimetoka theater. So, after that, kidonda nikaenda ikaanza kutokana. Saa hiyo hadi inatoa imeoza. Hizo kamba unafaa kutolewa after 8 days. Nimeenda 8 days na unajua ikipita zinashikilia nyama. So either way it's a disadvantage. Ukitoka kaijashikana ni shida na ikishikana ni shida. I went to the hospital. Ule nurse alikuwa ananitoa, alikuwa anatoa kilia. Namwambia, trust you me, there is nothing I've seen worse than this.
Did you ever conceive again after that?
Yeah. So now I get pregnant. I went to Bagadi. I was bleeding. Actually, it wasn't yet term, but I had to deliver. So even the doctor came and told me, now is there a way that you can stop the bleeding from your head? Because we've tried and you're bleeding, you're losing a lot of blood. And I'm like, okay, how? With all the things I have in my head, I don't have a space
for any more challenges.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So after that, they decided to take me to theater, and I give birth, and then kakaekwa kwa incubator, kakaka for a while. Yeah.
Now he's a big boy now.
Yeah, a very, very my boy who actually he saved me from a lot. Yeah, because he's the first thing I held and felt anyway. I'm not that useless. Yeah. Let me tell you one thing I've noticed. When people are against something, never think that you'll survive being the only person who has the same mind. Like unasema, as long as we love each other, we can survive.
Does this mean that people were against your relationship?
Yeah, for many reasons. They were. To an extent, and I used to discuss with him, I'm like, you see, everyone is insulting me, because the most painful part, they were insulting me, not him. Because as a man, if you're younger than a lady, people tend to think you're the demon. And you don't know, you just don't want to speak. Because I used to take every insult. He could do something and I could let it go because I know there's no one I can tell. Because they have already portrayed a certain image about you. You could do everything to make sure that person stand out. At the end, they are doing everything to make sure he gets someone else.
Oh.
Like, even at times I was like, okay, and when you try to leave the relationship, you look for you.
This same person.
Yeah, he will look for you, apologize, and threatens you. Then what you do? You go back. When you go back, you start being insulted. You're misleading the person. So, actually, I used to ask myself, only God understands what I'm going through, because in everyone's eyes, I'm the demon, but I'm the one who is suffering. I can remember there's a time he got, as in, so you see these messages, like the messages that, wrong numbers, someone can send a message. Na nilikuwa nimetoka hosi. And I've gone through CS, like I take time to heal. I remember how it was not even a month after my CS. Actually days. He came and saw in my phone, hi dear sijui what. He started issues to an extent, alininyonga nikapass out. Sayo niko chini. Then kupiga hesabu nikakumbuka tuko 4th floor na mtoi wangu juu mlango ijafungwa anaweza toka na kanaingizanga kichwa kwa hizo rings. Yeah, kanaweza anguka. Like nilipanda mbio, sikujali niko na kidonda. Kwenda nakapata kwa mlango kanaitana mama. Then after that, someone begs you, kneels down, says sorry, I don't understand what's happening, I'm sorry. Since you have a good heart, what do you do?
Forgive.
You forgive. Like I kept forgiving until it piled up. Nika realize now it's a problem. Like I could go to the hospital and ananiambia, you're suffering from depression. And if you don't manage, it's going to get worse. Now I have another child and you are alone. Kwanza I can remember nilifungiwa nyumba. Mtu ako kwao very comfortably. Then after I find my way back, unakuja usiku kwanza saa 9 kumake sure hakuna mtu.
So alikuwa kikumonitor everywhere you go. Tell me about that incident at your workplace.
There is a time I went, someone can even make you crazy because unaenda ukitafuta kazi, someone will make you lose your job. Kwanza try saying hi to a man.
It's a mistake.
Yeah, na saa hiyo unaambiwa you're the one misleading the person. And I'm like, how am I doing this? I'm really trying because I know when he's with me, he's not drinking, he's not doing, he's on his best character. But they don't see that. So now there's a time I remember he went and he came back drunk. So what he did, actually that was the worst thing he's ever done. Akarudi kama amekunywa. Then what he did, tukakuwa na argument. Then he waited until nilitoka nje. Because to him he knew what I love most is my kids. If you want to kill me emotionally, mess with my kids. When I went to pour some water, alifunga mlango
na ndani
na akawasha moto. Venye aliwasha moto, the picture, my baby girl, the second born, kalikuja kwa dirisha kaniambia, "Timam, baba choma."
What?
I don't know how my mind changed, because from then I was never the same. Like I couldn't, even if ningesikia kona mtoto wapi, ati wameenda wapi, no.
Utaki.
Staki. Sikula, like nilianza kukaa awake. Ulikuwa as long as it's within, niko awake.
How did they get rescued from that house?
Sasa now there is a neighbor they used to understand one another. He asked him one thing. Unapenda mtoto wako? Au kasichana vile unakapenda unaweza kachoma? Wakambeg, then akaona watu wamejaa hapo nje. Wameanza kugonga dirisha and everything. So I think akaogopa, akafungua na akatoka.
Then you rescued your children.
Wakachukuliwa, wakapewa first aid and all that. From there, even kagal the way kalikuwa kanampenda, akaanza kumuogopa kidogo. That was not it. Like me, I could leave a place 2 months. Nikiishi miezi 2, nimefukuzwa. Nini? Issues. Drama kila mahali. Mara amechukua ati nini anajinyonga. Mara amebai dawa ya mende ati anataka kukunywa. Amejifungia. If not so, kisu ati I'll kill everyone na nijiue. Ati if it's not me, no one else.
So if he can't have you,
yeah,
no
that's what. And then I noticed for him it's changed from love to obsession. Like he couldn't, if only he could see me with anyone, anaanza kutetemeka. And I'm like, the more you're doing this, you don't know what you're
capable of. Yeah.
Because every time the another place we went, ati anataka kurukia kwa nini, kwa balcony. So the incident alikuja akiwa mlevi. Then sijui akaanza kusema hizi dawa za mtoto. There is a person who told me that I know a person who can connect you with a guy in Germany and they have the best drugs. Tumuulize kama anaweza leteanga Jamal. Imagine I was chatting with the person. Alichukua simu akaanza kumpigia non-stop saa 8. The person didn't pick. Now it's my problem because he has not picked. He came, akaninyonga, then akanigonga ngumi, akanigonga tena. This Liam alisimama akamwambia, siwache kukasirika, siombe God na atafanya usikasirike. And when I shed the tears juu ya Liam, nikasema, this is the last time. I won't tell you, but it's the last time. I took, kuna meza ilikuwa hapa, nilichukua hiyo meza hivi, because I knew I'm strong, because he's strong, yes, but I'm sober. Even at times, he could do things, then anableki kwa kiti. And I'm like, there's a time nilipigwa mamake akanituka, ati nasikia umeua mtoto wangu, mwili iko wapi? Saa hiyo amebleki kwa kiti. And I'm asking myself, I'm a murderer, trust you me. Ningekuwa nilimweka kisu kitambo. Because you'll come, hit me, unichape, uniaibishe kila mahali, angekudrag kwa neighborhood. Saa zingine amehepa na mtoto, na kuza najua as long as niko na mtoto ndamfuata. there's a time alivutanisha mtoto. Sasa tunavutana na yeye mtoto, nikaona nikiendelea hajali kama atakatika or something will happen. So nikamwachilia. Now I'm looking, nikatafuta bike, nikapanda bike nimtafute. Then unaniambia umetoka na msichana, kasichana ka 2 years in, kwa wanaume wanakunywa pombe. And that time unapigiwa simu unatukano. Those people drained my brain, like I could sit down nalia peke yangu bure, and I'm asking myself, okay, do I have a problem, mama? I'm the problem. Because they are making me feel or look I'm like the problem. Saa zingine natukanwa and I'm hosting them even with the brother. Na natukanwa na ako kwa nyumba yangu. But hakuna jina. Kwanza they used to call me a prostitute, sijui malaya, sijui napoteza. Sa hiyo niliambia Mungu. There's a day nilimwambia, you have a sister. You see those things zenye munafanyanga na munaita, as long as I serve a living God, you will come to know how it feels. He came and told me, unajua vena kenda sister angu, haki usiombe hivyo. Nikamwambia, how do you think I feel? At times wameenda kwa chief kuniripoti. There's another time wamekuja Kiambu kwenye nimehepa nikakaa place. Tunaona kwa dirisha watu. Ati kwanza nakuja wanaendanga kuripoti. There's a time walienda wakaniripoti ati mimi ni sijui prostitute, sijui nilihepa Saudi, nilikuwa nafanya prostitution, international prostitution, niko na ID 3, niko na passport 3. Like a lot of things. And I'm like, no matter how much you hate me, do you hate me enough to see me? Because there is even a time anasema akiniona ataniua afadhali ashikwe. They used to say that. Not even the nini. Hata kama nimekasirika, like me, Liam, hakuna venye anaweza make decision yake ya life ni kuwe mimi ndio na revenge now. Because those people, I sat down nikaambia Mungu, I'm not an animal. Na since they have dealt me like an animal, only you
can revenge.
Yeah. Because sasa nilikaa nikaona nakaa because I want him to be sober, to reform, because when he's with me, he's on his best nini. But how can you stay with someone hata atatoka ende na watu warudi, akikunywa anakuja tu issues. And then there's a time utanirefer the way your mom referred to me. So I'm like, oh, so you think you're not together with her, but you are. Because even there's a time he was told, we don't care what everyone says, but if you ever lose her, you'll never get anyone who can understand you and wants your best. Yeah. Because I used to cover up everything.
What was the one thing that was the last straw for you, that you had to call it quits?
That when he gave me a blow, na akachukua kisu, ati anaua kila mtu. I can take it when the small kids are there, because nilikuwa najiambia au somehow waelewi kabisa. But when Liam, when my boy is there, he understands everything. So I wouldn't want him to be such a man in life, because you're the one he will emulate. And then he used to ask me, Mom, uko sawa? And then he's the kind of a boy, if ukimwonyesha unampenda ana cleaning for love sana, because of the things he has gone through.
Yeah.
So now I was like, not even for, now I'll start living for my kids and not for me, because for me, I'll go back. But for my kids, no. Because unless, you see, if you want to change, look for something that you care for. It will motivate you to change. Yeah. And you don't have to change when I'm around. And then when someone asks you, unasema ati nilikasirika. Kukasirika is enough for you to want to kill me. Then you can even smile kusema ati singekuua. And I'm like, okay, did you talk to the fire ndio ifike mahali izime? Like you yourself, you're not okay, but you don't know. And the people who are supposed to tell you the truth, they are pampering you to show you I'm the evil one. So right now I'm like, since I'm normal, how good are you? Because ushaifanywa as a lady, you know the things you value most. They crushed everything. And they used to know that there is no one I can share with. They already make you feel embarrassed. You ask. Yani hadi you ask yourself, you really, that time I used to, like, that's when I started, like, the depression hit it peak, nikapata pressure, nikapata bipolar, yani kila kitu. I used to stay like this, wanipata na kulia peke yangu. Hata wanajua there's a time na kuanga na episode hapa, ako kakubwa kana wachukuanga wanajifungia kwa nyumba. Kwa room, ananiuliza, mama uko sawa? Atianza kuomba Jesus atafanya wache kukasirika. And then they love. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they talk to him, but hata kakasiana wanaweza amka na kitabu ati mama nichoree Jesus.
Wow.
They just love God, and they know most of the worship songs. If I was given a chance, I'll still choose them to be my kids, actually.
Nice.
They are the best, but now the firstborn can turn out to be, he wants to protect me. Hata sahi wezi niguza akiwa. Trust you me. And that's what has drained him. Akafika mahali brain yake yezi take anymore.
How old is he?
He's just 8 years.
And he's seen all this cruelty.
Yeah. As we speak, he has tried committing suicide twice.
No.
He's supposed to see a therapist, go for counseling, because right now mkikosana na yeye, he starts nose bleeding every time. Hata mkosana na yeye kama amekaa hapo mwambia kalale, ata nose, like I was told that anxiety and the pressure, anaweza pata pressure at his age. So he's supposed to go for checkers na endema therapy.
Which at this moment you can't afford, because
Trust you me.
you moved out of an abusive marriage.
Yeah.
You're still not in your right state of financially, mentally.
Nothing. And then there's the Kayanga one has been taking, like, they think that my time is being taken by him, because since he was 1 month after birth, he developed a skin condition. Well, inatoanga maji, pulse na damu. So he has to be under medication, which are very expensive. Right now they are going for 6,850, and it goes for 5 to 6 days. The most painful part is the question they normally ask, because yes, they saw all that.
Yeah.
At times wanakwambianga, sai mama uko sawa, si unalalanga? They will see every time wakiamka nimekaa chini. Saa Liam hangelala. So till now, Liam unaweza mpata hapa ni saa 8 na amekaa chini. As long as niko kwa hii kiti atakaa.
Anataka kuchekwa.
Yeah, hadi I'm like, Daddy hakuna mtu hapa. Tiacha tu nikae. So like ame take your role. Yeah.
Protect.
Yeah. Hadi saa alafu apendi kuanikilia. There's a time nilikasirika, like muanga na outburst zingine na sijuangi kucontrol, because I'm the one treating my own self. So now nikamwambia, since nimetry ni kama mnaona na wanyima vitu, kuza kwa niambia, kwani siku hizi mama unakosa pesa hadi ya food na tunafungiwa nyumba kwa nini? I told him, I don't even know ilitoka wapi. Usijali, one day nikikufa utajua mbona watu venye wanazungukanga bila wazazi. At least utajua I tried.
No.
He cried, akanos bleed, akakuza akaniambia, Mom, si ukufi uendi kwa Jesus sai, si utangoja nikuwe na church yangu na nikufungulie catering. Yani ati hutawahi kosa food. Nikiwa chef hutawahi kosa food.
This is a young man
8 years
like that.
When you sit down with him, trust you me, hiyo nayo itakuchallenge because anaongeanga and I'm like, okay, I'm not responsible for that brain. Alikuwa hadi ananiambia, mama usijistress, kama una pesa ya shule nitangoja Jamala pone. Tiweta, lakini nikaona anasema hivyo but unampata amejifungia peke yake analia. So unaona anatry kusacrifice but anajiuliza kila mtoto anatoka huku anaenda shule. Why am I not going? But at the same time I don't want to stress mom. Hizi sasa unakapata kana store so much na ni mtoto.
He needs counseling.
Yeah. He really needs that because mi hata yangu nisipo, my son, as long as, because for him he has a bright future.
Yeah.
And as long as he's carrying all that, like yesterday, tulikuza because of house arrears tukafungiwa, then ikafunguliwa, but wakakata stima na maji, wakasema mnafaa kutoka. Alikaa hapo akaniuliza, mam, bado hujapata pesa? Wanakufanya madharau na Jamal ni mgonjwa. Sikujua, nikamjibu, nikamwambia, acha kunisumbua, enda ulale, hiyo tu. I didn't know imemstress. Alienda kwa kulala, saa 9 nikimulika hivi napata pali amelala kumejaa damu na ameblock. Kumbe hiyo tena ilimstress. Vile nimekwambia akistress kana kitu ana nosebleed saa hiyo. So nilianza kampata, ndio nikamuita hiyo siku, nikamwambia pole. Timia hata sijakasirika. He always smile. So he has a plastic smile na ni mtoto, just to show you ako sawa.
Okay, don't worry about.
Yeah. There's a time alikuwa anakuambia, mimi nikipata, unajua naweza hata nikienda nikipata food hata sitakula na kuletea na naletea nini. And I'm like, you are too young for that kind of
that. Yeah. Well, as Tuko, we will organize for counseling for that child.
Wow.
But you also need some help right now you're telling me you have house arrears.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling me how much it is and how long it's been since you last paid your last rent?
Actually, to be honest, we are already on, so this is the
October.
third one.
Third month.
Yeah, actually 3.5 because the other one I didn't clear.
Okay.
So now you see, even the landlord is not, najua amevumilia, that's why I'm like, okay. But ilifika mahali akaniambia hata yako biashara, and I understand actually. So now I have arrears, like this is 3 months and some nini, so it's from 30,000, 35,500.
Everything in total.
Yeah,
each
that's
month is how much?
10,500. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's because for him I try to do that because when I was using one room with him, I wanted him to have his room so that yeye anaweza learn, na mwambianga aende afanyie vitu huko so that nione kama ata grow na ataacha hizo fikiria, cause there's a time I was telling myself naweza move nyumba ndogo. But huyu mtoto shida yake ni moja, anytime ukishift from here to here you mstress. Anakulizanga, sasa tumeanza kuapua. Unamwambia not really.
You're trying to make him understand.
And I'm like, how do you make a bright child understand that sio hivyo? Alafu anakuambianga, mimi napenda huku kuna mabishte zangu.
So at least for his mental stability,
hiyo ndio, this is the only, as in I feel like I owe him for this. So they've gone through episodes, and right now ile unafikanga like now even the CS I went through, kidonda yangu ni kama ilishonwa vibaya. So you find that mimi nikikaa chini sana tumbo, like now unaweza ona inafuranga then inaanza kutoa maji. Ukienda hata kubuy painkiller, daktari anakuambia that's a serious one. Enda upigwe picha. So nakati najiuliza, okay, right now ndabai dawa ya mtoto ama chakula
ama picha.
Seriously. Ukiwa mzazi unajieka last, unasema that one I can manage. So you see the managing part of it, unapata hata wewe you run out of your heart, inafika mahali can't take it because I don't want to give up on my kids because I've fought this far because of them. But I feel like I'm failing them. I feel like my only reason for living is them. And right now I think they are doubting because of the things happening. Yeah. I never thought one day ti watoto wangu watakosa the basic needs. My boy is bright. When he was going to school, he only spoke English. Wow. He was the top. When sasa alianza, right now, unapata anakuuliza swali zingine unalia. Because you're like, is this the same person I used to know that nothing is impossible with him? And now anakuuliza swali, you're like, don't worry, we'll get there. So for them, not even for me I can take anything. But my pain is for them. Because I don't know for how long I can stand seeing them suffering. See them asking things because wameona place na wanajua enye nafaa kuwa nayo. Wakikuuliza swali, unatoka nje uzunguke ndio urudi kama wamelala. Saa zingine nikitoka natokanga nalia mataka nao. That boy can stay with them. Now you've seen the last one, the way anasumbuanga because of the condition. And trust you, anakwambianga, "Mom, unataka kwenda? Enda tu kidogo ndakaa nao."
Wow.
Yeah.
At this moment, what kind of help do you need to at least get back on your feet and stand on your own?
Within me, what I can say right now, me, isipokuwa my condition, I love working, as in I always work for my kids and me.
Yeah.
I'm not used to some situation that I've been facing for a while now. I'm good in content creation. I'm a script writer, as in I'm an event organizer. So I know with a good laptop and a good phone, I won't even say camera is not a must, but with a good phone and a good laptop, I can make it happen. And then I'm good in beauty. If I can get a place that I can do nails, polish and all that, makeup, that one, also that one can do, because with that I won't be straining myself. Exactly. So the wound will be I'll be comfortable, and I'll make it happen for my kids. And they'll live a normal life, and I know they'll start feeling the odd one out every time they are somewhere. Because at times they used to know that anything that come out lazima apate. So right now unapatanga when they see someone, hata even if it's a neighbor na majunks and all that, kujati, "Mom, sijali, najua tu ukipata pesa utanunua." So indirect anakwambia, I miss them, lakini
it's no pressure.
It's not very nice. So he has a way of making you feel guilty. Pia anakuzaga anakwambia kitu, you're like, don't think I'm a fool. I know what you mean, but
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Right now, are you afraid that this person, the father to your kids, will find you and start tormenting you again? Because you've been running from him severally now.
Right now, what I want him to work on himself. Because despite everything, I wouldn't want the worst for him. And I appreciate the fact that when I was down, when I lost the people I valued, he was there for me.
Yeah.
So I prefer keeping that. I'm trying to replace that with these other person he became. But the only person who can do that is him, forgiving himself and working on himself.
Yeah.
Because I would love one day to see him on TV or become someone. I'll say, I knew that was in you somehow. I wouldn't want him to, like, to die because of drugs or maybe an accident. I wouldn't wish for that. So I'm trying my best to let it go, the pain. As I'm doing that, I'm praying for him. And I know God hears.
That's true.
Because somehow there's a good person somehow in him.
For someone who's out there and they're watching your story and they'd like to support you in one way or the other, what's the phone number that you can be reached through?
Okay, if you're out there and you want to reach me, my number is 07 45 141 128.
Say it again.
07 45 141 128.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beatrice. Is there anything you feel I have left out or you have left out? You feel it's absolutely necessary that you say it right now?
Okay, I'll just say that God bless Tuko.
Amen.
And may you continue having the heart to reach other people who don't have a voice.
Oh.
Because other people, they have a small voice. The people you can reach can take you anywhere or they can use you. But for you, may God bless you.
Amen. And thank you for trusting us with your story. I know it was not easy for you to revisit all the painful past that you've been through. But I'm glad you trusted the process and you held on up to this point. And so thank you for inviting us to your home and giving us time to sit with you and listen to your story.
Thank you for your time too.
Tuko family, you have heard the story of Beatrice and the struggles that she has had to undergo to just make sure that her children live a normal life. Are you there and you're willing to support this lady get back on her feet? Please reach out to her through the number that we shall put on the pinned comment and help her, support her get back on her feet and live a normal life. And thank you so much for staying with us till the end of the show. My name is Yvonne Kawira, and until next time, keep it Tuko.